Hello, hello. Welcome to this humble channel on the godforsaken corner of YouTube, the Archieverse. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Jamie Opulence, Watch Nicholas, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. I genuinely appreciate it. Um, I'm talking to you on a very special day. I especially salute my friends from the UK, my British friends. Happy Accession Day to you. As you know, today, February 6th, marks the beginning of the celebrations for the Queen's, for Her Majesty the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. And this is very topical because today we'll be talking about Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso, which is an iconic model, and Her Majesty the Queen actually wore a Jaeger-LeCoultre caliber 101 on the occasion of her coronation. You can see it on her wrist there. It's one of the, at the time especially, it was one of the most minimal and the thinnest calibers ever produced. You can see how elegant it is. And it is very fitting because, as you know, Edward VIII, whose coronation ceremony did not actually take place, had a special reverso made for that occasion that was engraved on its back with his crown and the year 1947. We will perhaps take a look at that a little later in this broadcast. I wanted to also show you an example of an early reverso that I think my friends Jamie Opulence and also Night Diver will very much appreciate, and that is Patek Philippe Reverso. And these have a very interesting story because when the watch was first produced and introduced in 1931, Patek Philippe actually ended up getting about 8 cases, 4 in white gold and 4 in yellow gold, and the other 4, I believe, a mix of white and yellow gold. And this is the only identified example that is in white gold of a reverso from this era. So it's very precious. It's very valuable. You can see the syringe hands there. And I think it's a beautiful combination. The way especially that black dial has matted out and aged over the years, it just pops beautifully. That must be the perfect dress watch. And here we have also an example from that period that I think is iconic in its own way. And I believe it is still found in the Hermès Museum. And it is a 1931, I believe, co-branded Reverso, GG and Hermès, as you can see, with an inner central seconds dial, beautiful syringe hands, and that Hermès ostrich strap that has become part of the watch's iconic appearance. And you might know, JLC still has this size, a similar case of Reversos in their lineup. They're called the Classique. That's not going to be our conversation today. I'm going to talk about two different models. You might know I was considering adding a couple of watches to my collection lately. So Reverso was one of the models that I was looking for, and I had a few options. I have examined a few examples, and I had them pared down to Reverso Ultra Thin 1931 and a Reverso Grand Date, which is, I think, very unique as a Reverso with its 8+day power reserve especially, and we will get into those details. But I will show you two more things before I jump onto about those two, to talk about those two examples. I'll talk about, or rather, I will show you what I eliminated first from my consideration, but I will share them as honorable mentions, so to speak. And here we have the first example of those, which is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso Grand Calendar. You can see this is a triple calendar or triple date, day, month, and date. The dial is beautifully decorated. It's a steel case here, but you can also find them in precious metals. I think it's a beautiful complication. It's one of the most useful complications with the addition of the moon phase. And as it is usually the case with the model, it of course comes with a swiveling case, and with the complicated models, JLC usually prefers a display case back with a sapphire crystal on the back that exhibits the movement. So that is the case with this watch as well. The reason I eliminated it at this point is that this is probably one of the biggest Reversos on the wrist. I have spoken about this before. I'm not necessarily one who looks for complications in watches. I usually err on the side of simplicity. So that was one of the reasons why this particular model was eliminated from my consideration. But I think it's a stunning watch, and to have these sorts of complications in a steel watch in an iconic model, I think it's very unique. It's very special. So I really commend JLC for doing this. The case is also slightly broader than even the large size Grande case, 22 millimeter lug width as opposed to the 20. And if I'm not mistaken, it's also a little longer. So it has a bigger wrist presence, perhaps, compared to other Grande Reverso models. It is thicker than the ultra thin, but thinner than the Grand Date as well. It has a power reserve, if I'm not mistaken, of around 45 hours. So very good, but not to the extent of that 8-day power reserve that was introduced with the 70th, the 70th anniversary model. But at any rate, I think it's a beautiful watch. You see the characteristic kiln-fired blued steel hands. sort here, alpha here, with the Arabic numbers and the different gradations of the dial that are worked upon in very special ways. I think this is a beautiful watch, and one I might end up considering later on. Just a quick note, Bofaris, I will open up the discussion at the end of my presentation. So if you would like to listen in, chime in perhaps with questions and suggestions, and then join me at the very end, I would very much appreciate it. The other model that I eliminated at this point in time, and it is again a watch that I might want to own in the future, is the ultra thin in rose gold. So on the 80th anniversary of the model in year 2011, Reversos came out in these tribute to 1931 models that had a more modern, larger case, but true to the form, they came with ultra thin movements, and they were presented in steel and in rose gold. And the rose gold model in 2011, which is actually a model that came out a year later in year 2012, came with this beautiful white dial. And I think it really looks exquisite. And as it is, again, part of a piece with the model, it comes with a plain case back that you can use for engraving. So this is a very special kind of watch that I think could be down the line, maybe a full gold watch for me, which I never owned. And it's around that I didn't venture to, but this could be a good way to start that. What I really liked about those Reversos, though, is a model that came out a few years down the line, again in a pink gold case, and that is the one that has a chocolate dial. So it's the same model as the one as I showed before. That's from year 2011, 2012. And here it is presented with a chocolate brown dial, Cordovan Casa Fagliano style strap. You might know that is the brand that they collaborated with for the occasion of the 80th anniversary, because that Argentinian company has been known worldwide for producing the highest quality and the most desired polo boots. So it was a nice way to play up the particular history of the watch, which, as you know, has this mythology of being designed for colonial British officers who wanted to have a watch that they could wear with the peace of mind on the polo field during their chaka. And I'm calling it mythology because it's hard to believe that any watch movement would preserve itself after a strike of a polo mallet or even any sort of impact. But I guess it was a nice way to preserve the crystal of the watch, which at the time was, of course, actual glass. Anyway, we'll talk about the history of the Reverso at some length in a later stream, but let's soldier on to the actual two models that I wanted to consider. And I think I will just make the transition to the ultra thin from the same 80th year tribute to 1931 edition. I really love this watch. The ones that I had a chance to examine in person, I found very special. Um, it's almost the perfect dress watch. I know some people prefer a white dial for a black tie event, but I think the black dial would play beautifully with a dinner jacket. This is the ultra thin again, presented in steel. Uh, it has this sort of faux patina or fauxtina kind of loom, but I think it's not overdone. Um, so it doesn't really put me off, at least. Um, and it really, plays up the 1930s Art Deco origins of the watch with the sword hands against the black dial, um, with matching indexes that were at the time mostly diamond polished with the matching metal, as you have seen in that example of the Patek Philippe Reverso. But this time it has this very functional loom that glows in the dark. And as you see, it is just branded Reverso. Um, there's no sign of Jaeger-LeCoulture on the dial, and that also is a reference to the 1930s origins of the watch. You remember the one that I showed from the Hermès Museum, which had the Jaeger brand, but for the most part, the 1931 models were branded just with the name of the model, Reverso. Yeah, I think on a black alligator strap, black crocodile strap, uh, ideally large scales, it just looks beautiful. And I love the fact that the carrier is decorated with these large engine turned finish, what they call perlage in French. I think that's a beautiful detail. I'm kind of sad that they didn't keep that in the current lineup of tribute watches. Um, but I understand they're presented in a different way, and it does look that sun ray design uh, does look very luxurious, and I think also plays well with the sunburst finish of the current lineup. In this case, I think with the aesthetics of the watch that are sporting in origin, it's a very nice detail to have this engine turn decoration, this perlage on the carrier. It is a nice thing to look at while you are turning the watch around and reversing it on the other side, where you might have a personal engraving. And that's the beauty of the Reverso, of course, right? You can personalize it your own way, but at the end of the day, it's discreet. No one else sees it, no one else knows it, unless you want to share, unless you want to show them. There we are. So for me, the appeal of this watch was that in many ways, as Archie has already called it, it may be the ultimate dress watch, but it's not something that you have to use exclusively for occasions that require something very formal, right? And you don't need to simply talk about the colonial and sporting origins of the watch to justify that. I think most people are limited by that fact that it's ultra thin, and it's really a watch that has seen its resurgence in the 90s. So people sometimes very quickly associated with older gentlemen, and I think that's not a bad way to identify this watch. But with different combinations of straps, we have seen it on an ostrich strap a little earlier. Um, we have seen the polo-inspired straps from Casa Fagliano, and Casa Fagliano also produced um, for JLC a new lineup that has used canvas for most of the strap, with the turn-ups by the lugs being their usual cordovan leather. And I want to show an example of that before I move on, just so you have an idea of how these watches can be made to look more casual, more dynamic, and presented in a way that plays up their sporting heritage. Um, right, look at this, for example. Right, they have a few more color combinations than this, but they have one in pale blue. You see the turn-ups where the strap connects to the lugs. They have sand beige, tan. They have a full gray. And I think it's a very different feel once they're combined with these straps. It may not be for everyone. Some may see it maybe a little bit of um, you know, step off the beaten path. But if you think of riding boots, there are always examples like the one presented here, right? That are expressly made for more tropical and summer occasions. So it actually is not out of line to design a strap that is a combination of canvas and leather, um, expressing the same kind of connection to the game of polo, to that particular heritage, with that tip of the hat to the origins of the watch. So that was one of the models I was considering. The other model that I was considering, which we associate in many ways with the Pontiff, is this one right here. And I'm assuming that a lot of you have seen this watch already on a leather band, and Archie has presented this watch with many different kinds of leather straps. He had factory black alligator strap, again, which makes it a beautiful dress watch. And that in itself, actually, even for a black leather strap, there's so many options that you can choose that uh, bring out different elements in this watch, right? You can choose something that's very thin, very sleek, very elegant if you're wearing it as a dress watch on a more formal occasion. You can choose something that is a little more padded, with more interlining. and that would give it both a little more presence on your wrist, even though this is one of the thickest Reverso, so I don't know if it needs that extra nudge. But in either case, even within one color and one genre of the strap, you have so many options that can make this watch feel like a new watch on your wrist. And here it's presented with a rice grain 5-link bracelet, which is a unique design for the Reverso. And this is a model, again, that takes after the 70e. So it's not only Grande, it's not only the large case, but it is the extra large case that by and large inherits the movement from that 70th anniversary edition, just modifying a few different things, but preserving that most important function, which was the 8-day plus power reserve. JLC advertises this as 8 days, but many have tested it and found out that it is 8 plus and closer to 10 days. But they're very specific about it. So it's an 8+ day power reserve, seconds on the subdial, that is placed right between 4 and 5 o'clock. Again, very subtle branding, right? Where you have Reverso up there in the subdial and Jaeger-LeCoultre down there, even in smaller prints. It has that double window date display that we like to see on certain brands, let's put it this way. Of course, Lange 1, Lange 1 is one particular model and brand that has become very distinctive with this display. The chronograph version of Audemars Piguet, the chronograph version of Vacheron Constantin overseas in the second generation had also a similar guichet date display. But this was actually something that Jaeger-LeCoultre introduced and shared with Lange when they came out of the German reunification as a revitalized, reorganized manufacturer within Richemont. So as a gesture of goodwill, JLC shared the first generation of this particular complication, this particular function with Lange, and they used the second iteration of that function on this model. The two windows operate separately, and they actually have a quick set that you can work with the crown as well. You see these blued steel hands. Again, they're not painted, but kiln fired. That's how they take their distinctive color. The dial, again, is so nicely decorated in so many gradient levels. You have a guilloche in the center, railroad tracks around it. In the outer lines of the dial is again decorated very beautifully. Sword hands for the hours and minutes, and alpha hands for the reserve, 8-day power reserve, and the seconds on the subdial. It's just a beautiful design. Of course, it has the quadrants on the case here. The angular lines of the case and the lugs, I think, plays beautifully with the more horizontal and vertical organized appearance of the dial. It's really, with the Arabic numerals, I think this is a model that preserves that Art Deco heritage of the design and really takes it to the next level. I don't know why I like this watch so much, honestly, because I really usually have a distaste for busy dials. That's why I don't like chronographs. But I guess I somehow warmed up to this watch because it's actually pretty easy to read, even though the dial looks busy. I also like it because it's very quirky. Um, like it's so asymmetrical, um, and unorganized, and in a way uncool. That makes it cool because, again, chronographs are actually, uh, whether the dials are busy or not, or whether the time is easy to read or not, they are actually very well designed, and uniform looking pieces. Um, so some people warm up to it immediately and respond to it immediately. Others, like me, have all sorts of excuses for not liking it. At the end of the day, it's just an aesthetic judgment, so it's hard to evaluate it on the objective level. But in this case, um, it's like how the word bad is used in a good way, right? It's so bad that it's good, and it's so uncool and disorganized and asymmetric that it finds some principle of organization at another level, and everything somehow comes together. And of course, I'm not going to hide the fact that this is a watch that the pontiff has worn for so many years, that it is still the watch that he has owned for the longest time consecutively without ever getting rid of it, that it is a watch that he still keeps in his collection. That makes it even more valuable for me. Here's another angle on that beautiful dial. I love the fact that these numbers are serif. It gives them that another kind of out of date, untimely, but also timeless touch. And here you see again that display case back, which exhibits to you these dual spring barrels that are the source of this watch's particular power. And by which I mean the 8+ day power reserve, right? Those are the spring barrels that hold that long power reserve, and it's said to require only 40 turns of the crown to charge it up fully. And of course, the watchmaking speaks out its art in releasing that power in measured ways over those 8 days. You can see the characteristic Côte de Genève decorating the bridges. You can also see those blued screws in addition to the rubies, and those blued screws are kiln fired in the same way as the hands are. So that's where they take their peculiar shade. And again, it's a very nice way of reminding you of the actual dial while you are still taking a look at the case back and admiring the movement. It is caliber 875, which is something inherited from the 70th anniversary edition. And it's just beautiful. And of course, it is a high beat movement, right? That's very impressive in its own regard, because a lot of times watchmakers increase the power reserve by tuning down that frequency, right? By keeping it low beat. And for a movement like this that works at 28,800, it's just impressive for it to have such a large power reserve. So that I find very attractive, even though, again, I am not a complications nerd. I am a nerd. I never denied that. but I'm not particularly interested in or impressed by complications. But something that is so functional as an 8-day power reserve, I find really, really attractive. So I'm happy to forsake the plain case back that I can use for a personal engraving. Maybe one day um, I might get a watch like that. But again, that's the only thing. That's why I'm oscillating between these two models. Um, do I want a plain case back and an ultra thin iconic dress watch, or do I want something that's more unique, more quirky, something that's even more special? I mean, look at this, for example. Archie has raved plenty of times about this particular case and its presentation for the Reverso. And it's just a beautiful color. And I just realized while I was preparing this that the color of these boxes, the outer box and the inner box, is actually a reference to that kiln-fired blued steel hands and screws of the watch itself. So that makes it for me even more impressive and sentimental at a certain level, and that makes me maybe veer on the side of this watch, the Grande, rather than the ultra thin tribute to 1931. All right. So I'll post the link now, and I'm really interested in what you guys think and whether you have any directions to offer me. And I really appreciate you being here. I really appreciate your participation in the chat, even though I wasn't always able to respond to it in a timely way. But I would be more than happy to host you here and have a conversation about the Reverso, about these particular models, about its history, about the model's history, about JLC as a brand. And ultimately, I'm just really happy to share my personal journal with you, my personal insights. If you have liked this video, please like, upvote, and subscribe. Tell your friends. Otherwise, until I get monetized, I would really like this channel to become self-sustaining at the level. So if you are feeling particularly generous, you can use that particular Cash App to donate some money to the channel. So that's open for your contributions. I'm planning to present on some other models and coffee table books. The Red Book of Rolex is probably next on the docket. I'm also going to present on Nick Folks's book that just came out of the French publishing house Assouline very recently. That is going to burn a hole in my pocket. And then I also would like to reveal these two new watches that I got. So there will be an unboxing, well, two unboxings coming up very soon. And if you would like to encourage me to expedite those unboxings, again, feel free to make a contribution, and I might in fact schedule these sooner than later. So if you have, again, any ideas, any future insights, suggestions, or recommendations for the future directions of this channel, I welcome you. Otherwise, I'll wrap up this stream in a few minutes. But the Leads is making a very valuable contribution here. Thank you, the Leads. I do have a mirror in my house. I like the way how I look. I like the way I look. I'm absolutely content with it. And I find it really suspect that the internet is full of presumably mature men who obsess so much over another man's appearance. I find that really suspect. Let's just take a note of that. Yeah, life is too short, Leeds, to remain in the closet. We live in a free country, so liberate yourself. Thank you, Fats. Thank you. It's really one. Fats is really one of the people that make this particular corner of YouTube, the Archieverse, so much cleaner and so much more honest. I really appreciate all of his contributions. Thank you. My friend,
Lord,
مرحبا.
كيف حالك?
الحمد لله.
I would like to apologize and sincerely apologize. I'm so sorry for.
Oh, my
I,
friend, it's not a big deal. You're here now.
yes, I am here because I really I don't like doing things like that, and I'm apologizing again, and I'm at your service, sir.
Oh,
I,
please, yeah, don't say things like that. But yeah, I mean, I understand. As one says in Arabic, على راسي.
على
You
راسي من
you are.
عيوني على راسي. Yes, that's why I apologize. And
شكرا شكرا.
حبيبي أنا آسف جدا وأكرر اعتذاري لك.
ما في مشكلة.
هذه this is not from really as deliberate, but I am here and let's go. So you've been talking about Jaeger-LeCoulture, right?
Yes,
Earlier.
sir. What do
Okay,
you
so
think? Were you able to listen to any part of the presentation?
you have listened, yes, and you've been just a little bit, but I've been called up and I have to say something to Sorako on the other channels. I went there and I'm so sorry.
Oh, no,
So I
no, no
was
worries. No
no,
worries.
he's sending you his regards as well. So it's hard
Yeah,
to
love
find
to hear.
Sorako. So what's fascinates you about? I mean, do you love the reversos?
Yes, I think of course, the origins of the watch fascinate me a great deal.
Mm,
I like that particular period of design that is called Art Deco. I like a lot of its architecture. So just looking from afar, which is how I examined the model when I was a teen, um, I was really amazed with it. But of course, when I was younger, uh, much younger, I always associated with uh, very distinguished, but also distinctly older gentlemen, right?
exactly. Yes.
But the more, sorry, you were going to say something, Buferis?
Yes, I was gonna say is have you owned one?
No, but it might be one of my two purchases that are just coming in. But what I was going to say is when I went out actually in the last 5 years, and people know here that I take about 2-3 years when I set my sights on a watch. I have to study, I have to research, I have to
Yeah.
examine in person and not only in photographs. So the last 5 years, I have been looking for the perfect model for me. I may have decided finally to jump the gun and get one. So again, you'll never know how much you like a watch before you own it and spend at least a few months with it on your wrist.
Yes. Yes.
And I look forward to having that experience quite soon, I hope.
Yeah, I wish if we knew each other earlier because you know the triple date you pulled up with the first, the white one.
The triple
I,
date, yeah, the
yeah,
triple
triple
caliber.
date. I have this one because this is just like a large, which is a large size triple date.
Hmm.
Normally, all the with reversos they have it, but the triple date they have only uh, visible sort of movement in the back.
Yes.
They don't have another like it's not double, not dual time, which is different watch on the other side.
Hmm.
I've owned that one. I kept it with me. I had it. I tried to get bond with it. This is to me, Lord. Okay, please don't listen to me. This is to me. Yeah, it's
Of course.
okay.
But
I
I
tried
want to
to.
hear what you think, so it's important for me as well. Please.
Yes, this is what I had. I kept it with me. I tried to wear it and stuff like that. Then, in a while, because I have so much watches, I don't know if it's that or because it's this watch is quite different niche. It's just like yeah, this one exactly this one, same one.
Look
It's
at the beautiful movement.
yeah, look at the movement. Yeah, of course, it's a beautiful watch. It's a beautiful thing. But I want every time I put it in my hand, it doesn't give me that satisfaction. I have no idea why. So I got just have to get another watch for it. So
Yeah,
it's
I
not.
I completely understand. I think in steel especially these watches are really special. And as I said, when I was younger, I thought this was a watch for gentlemen who are older than 50 years. But the more I read about the origins of the watch, and the more I actually got to know physical examples of the watch, I could imagine it in so many different ways. And I don't know if you were here or if you were listening in when I was talking about and showing some pictures of different kinds of straps that go with it. I
Yeah.
think we really change the feel of the watch and bring out different aspects of it that are not strictly limited to this formal uh, dress watch genre.
Lord, do
Uh,
you do you really do you wear suits all the time? Do you wear like long sleeve and you're official all the time and stuff like that?
Actually, yes, like during 4 or 5 days a week, I'm usually in a buttoned up shirt and
This
sports.
is this is will fit you fantastically. This is a watch which is really fantastic. You will love it. But my recommendation not to get the triple date because you don't need triple date for God's sake. Why do you need triple date? Even you don't know the month and
I eliminated that. It's either the ultra thin tribute to 1931 in steel or the
yeah,
Grande.
but that comes in smaller size.
I'm getting the Grande in ultra
Yes,
thin
just
or,
as the
or
grand,
the
the grand. Get the grand
yeah,
one, the dual
yeah.
time. They are fantastic. They are two watches in one, and then you will love that watch. If you are official all the time, you will love it. Trust me, you will love it. I didn't
Mm,
bond with this one because I'm not really wearing suits all the time. Although I wear I'm official like an Arabic dress all the time, but
mhm.
this watch is not for me. So, but for you, if you're wearing a suit, be elegant, and you have the watch, it has dual time, black, white side, and black side. It's completely different.
Mm.
And the straps goes with it. It wears really. But I recommend that you always use the manufacturer straps because they have sort of an angle to them.
Yeah,
It gives
yes.
you that stability on the wrist because if you put any strap it just hang on one side, so they have sort of like solid curved, it goes to the lugs and hold it in position which is sits like proper in your hand, in your arm.
Absolutely. But these days, JLC provides so many different kinds of straps that fit exactly in the same way you described. So there are so many options, not only in terms of the skins, ostrich, calf leather, cordovan, alligator.
You mean they have the easy release system? I mean,
Yes, when you turn around, the lugs have have this lip,
slip,
where
yes, yeah. Just you press on it, you can change it, and just like in no time.
that's right.
Mm.
So yeah, it's I do like the dual face from far, but when it comes to my choices, I'm not really going for that. Hi, Watch Nicholas, welcome.
Oh, hey guys, sorry to interrupt your conversation, but thank you. Hi, welcome.
Not at all, not at all. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
So they have now, one in mix of canvas and leather and everything. So it's the options have changed and multiplied. Jamie, Casa Fagliano was used in 2011 and 2012, and nowadays the design remains, but the straps are mostly produced in France by Camille Fournet. I will write the name.
Yeah.
But you can contact Fagliano directly and have them produce some bespoke straps for you.
Yeah, bespokes and all this. So you could have for all those things as long as it just you just it's sad sometimes to see a really beautiful watch and you see just a stupid strap on it, just like aftermarket. It just why do that? Just you spend a lot of
Right.
money on a watch and you put this the most cheapest strap on it. For the sake of what? I don't understand. Saving the other strap. I don't know. You correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think this is the way people?
What do you think, Nicholas?
Well, I actually do that exact thing. It's kind of I don't know, it's kind of undercover for me, right? Like I'll kind of take a really cheap NATO strap, like a $5 strap or something, and I don't know. I tell myself it's like to save the strap that comes with the wristwatch, like the like I've done that with my Glashute or like my Omega. Like just take the bracelet off and then save it and then put it on like a really cheap strap. And then I feel like it's really like incognito. Like I can kind of get away with it when I go to the Walmart or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, that's basically my thought. Like I leave some of them like the Cartier, the dress watches. Like I'm never going to like take those off the fancy strap because it totally like kills it. Probably can't really do that with the JLC. It's a little too classy for that. But I've done it with my Glashute. Like I have it on like a $2, $3, like under $5 cheap strap. I don't know. I kind of think it definitely it places a lot more emphasis on the dial. So it's just kind of my opinion on it. Like everyone's different though. Not hating on anybody who likes to wear it. You should definitely wear them. There's a time to wear them. It's worth wearing them. For sure. I mean, but some watches too, like you definitely they don't really look right without the strap, like they're definitely like, I don't know, like the Rolex, all of those, I think they kind of I know some people will do the NATO thing. I think they just look so much better on the bracelets, and like with the JLCs, a lot of those, the leather or whatever the fine leather goods are that they come with, it just really dresses it up quite a bit, I think. But I also think like you get a really fancy strap, it can really give new life to a watch and change the feel of it, and like feels like you have a whole new piece if you like dress it up with a fancy strap.
You see, the strap is almost like the bracelet. It's like you want the originality. You want to enjoy
Yeah,
that
I get that.
journey. You need you need the journey because
Yeah.
this is what it's made for. Because bracelet, it's there. It could scratch and stuff like that. But leather, wear it for God's sake. So, I mean, how much that gonna cost you? But it's just people that think it's just like
You're right. I
keeping
mean,
it.
it's stupid, right? When you actually take a step back, it's like, what the heck, like just enjoy it, for sure.
It's only just don't wear it when it's really humid and this hot summer and when you're sweaty and stuff like that.
Yeah, like washing the car and stuff. Yeah.
Yes, this is not for that. This is for going somewhere cool. This is when you wear it, just like when you put something really a nice shirt and when you pull the sleeve up and be cool going for dinner and stuff like that. It just you go with this beautiful watch and you put like Amazon bloody strap in it. Everybody knows that. Everybody will see it. Said, oh, okay, we know that. It doesn't work. I'm sorry to say that, but
I get that. Like, it doesn't, like, okay, so it doesn't. Like, it's one of those things, like, I don't know. I totally get the point, though. Like, for real. Like, you're not wrong. Like, you need to enjoy them. It looks better. It doesn't, like, you don't get the full fun of the watch without the full experience, right?
You could. There's Velcro. There's different, like there's sort of rubber, which is, but have to be like proper straps.
Well, I'm wearing a sailcloth right now that I really like. It's the blonde
Canvas
sail
one,
strap.
yeah?
It's like pretty nice. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Like a canvas.
Yeah, it's like that with a rubber backing. It's kind of a weird mix. It's pretty fun though. It's a nice one. It's really, really sturdy, really strong.
Mm.
You know what the good thing is? People, they always do this wrong. When you want to change the strap, don't go cheaper.
Move up. I'll move up.
Yeah, move up. Yes.
That's what you should do. Yeah, you need to move up in life. Right?
You don't go down, you go up because
Yeah,
you want to dress the watch. You
For
don't
sure,
want to
you're
downgrade the watch. This is
I think like, okay, so like maybe it's where I am, like in California or something. Like there's one or two watches that I totally keep like that, like dressed up. But most of them I honestly try to kind of hide, to be honest.
Mm.
I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
I
it's
think, honestly, I'm a little bit of two minds when it comes to this situation because, like Nicholas said, of course you want to go high quality, like Bufaris said, but like Nicholas said, there are some occasions where you want to actually make the watch a little more discreet, maybe a little more casual.
Yeah.
And for those occasions, I think, like for example, one of the reasons that I wear my vintage Rolexes on leather and suede straps, one, I'm trying to preserve the vintage bracelet, because as you all know, they stretch quite a bit in time. But two, I actually want to make them a little more discreet because when you have a full Rolex watch on an Oyster bracelet or on a Jubilee bracelet, it's much more in your face. It's much more recognizable, and it attracts attention, but sometimes in the bad way, right? I live in a grittier part of Los Angeles. So, you don't always want everyone around you to know that you are wearing a Rolex. It might just look like
the two-tone
another watch on a leather strap. That's it. Sorry,
Time
Nicholas.
and place, I guess. No, not at all. I mean, I was just going to say, basically, yeah, I mean, it's kind of, that two-tone definitely pops. Like, to me, that was one of the first things that I remember, like, recognizing with Rolex or, like, associating with Rolex, like, growing up, was, like, the shine of, like, the bracelets, like, the presidential bracelets at, like, golf and tennis clubs, like, or just the two-tone, like, how much it popped. Like, it just, I don't know. It has a special shine, like that you can definitely see. Like you're, like I don't know. It's not like you can see it across the street like a Richard Mille, but like it definitely like steps out if you like. If your sleeves are exposed and you're wearing it, it kind of pops, and it can sometimes draw the wrong stuff. But there's a time and a place to enjoy it for sure. You should have to. Only live once.
Yeah, absolutely.
These are gorgeous. Yeah. These Reversos. Is this what you guys have been looking at?
Yeah, not this particular model, but I wanted to show the different straps that they have just introduced with the contrast of the leather and the canvas. You see,
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. 10-4. I'm caught up now. Yep.
so they're like summer polo boots. They have that leather part and the canvas
Festive.
part up top.
Yeah. Very like jovial, upbeat like colors.
Mm-hmm.
Good contrast. Nice.
This is make you look like he just want to jump on the horse, won't you?
Kind of, yeah.
That's like so perfect. Yeah, it does, right.
And before that, I was trying to show the two-tone reverso that Edward VIII, the later Duke of Windsor, ordered for his coronation that never actually took place.
Oh wow.
So this is it. It's engraved on the case back with the crown and Edward
Wow.
VIII and the year of the supposed coronation, 1937.
That will suit you, Lord. That's a watch for you, man.
Yeah, if ever.
Goes with the name.
It's one example, and it's held in the JLC museum in Le Sentier. So I would have to break in and organize a heist to get it.
So maybe not possible to acquire that piece. Might be kind of tough. Yeah.
But there are some very affordable and interesting examples of two-tone reversos, which means gold case, matching gold hands, but the carrier is in steel, like this one.
That looks really good. That does look really good. It's very pretty. It's definitely nice. That engraving. I've seen a couple reversos that have these. I really like the reversos that do the do face, I guess, where it has two of the faces, you know. But the ones with these engravings
It's too
are
small.
really, really
in
cool
his
too. They're
wrist.
so
Very
impressive.
small. Very
Yeah,
small.
yeah. But remember, this is the actual 30s model.
Yeah,
of that.
exactly. Exactly. This is how this started. This is
Right, and this is
great.
what they call classique in the current lineup. So
Classic,
you
yeah.
want to get the larger size if you are getting a contemporary model for sure.
Grand.
Yeah, sizes change for sure. Modern era. That's still. I think that looks great. That's a winner. That would be really cool to see in person at that museum.
Winner, chicken.
Chicken
Chicken dinner. Yeah, chicken dinner.
Wah, wah, wah.
And there's the last historic example that I wanted to show is General MacArthur's personal watch that has a personal engraving as well.
What does he have? That'll be great. Thought he had a tank or something, maybe.
No, that's the Reverso as well.
Really? Okay, this is great then. A lot of winners with the reversos.
Look, this is actually it has a sword hand, and it's loomed.
Yes, and so are the numbers, by the way, on this example.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, I didn't notice that.
Exactly, because it has loom. I never even this large those reversos, they don't have any loom. And
I love the way he designed the logo. You know, it looks like a man standing up, and it's D Mac A, Douglas MacArthur.
Oh wow, that is great. Oh my gosh, that is actually really that's really cool.
It's a beautiful steel Reverso, black dial, beautiful.
Yeah, I like those hands. Those hands are really cool, and then the loom. That's a great look.
Yeah, and it does remind you. It does remind you of the black tribute to 1931 model that they had introduced about 10 years ago.
Look at this sectored dial. You cannot see that even the hands in the sectored dials. How old is this?
This is also from the 30s. Let me see exactly what year. Mid 1930s.
The strap almost bigger than the watch.
I think the strap is probably
I know. Yeah, exactly.
it's newer, put on there by Antiquorum, who sold it on an auction.
That is really nice, huh? It's a piece of history for
Welcome,
sure.
man. How are you doing, Golden? Are you there? Can you hear
Hello,
us?
Lord. How are you?
Good. Nice to have you over.
Great
Oh,
show,
hi,
man.
Golden. Hi.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. So how are you doing this Sunday, Golden?
I'm relaxing. I have to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
Yep.
I've been planning to have this stream for about a week, so it feels nice to get it off my chest because I've been thinking about it all the time, and it's nice to share.
Awesome.
So, Lord, this watch, which your avatar, do you have this watch?
I wish. You know, it sold for very, very cheap at the Sotheby's edition auction a few years
What?
ago.
Who's the sheikh name is on it?
You want to take a guess first before I disclose it?
I think Sheikh Mohammed or Sheikh Mohammed or Sheikh. I cannot really read it properly, but I think it's from the. I don't know. It's just very, very difficult for me to read it, but I can see it's.
Now you can read it, right? Can you?
No.
الرئيس حافظ الأسد.
Al-Assad. Oh, okay.
Apparently, it was his personal 16550 Polar Explorer 2 from year 1988, presumably, and it sold for 33,750 US dollars. So probably like under 45. That's not a bad deal for an historic watch that
No.
belonged to a dictator
No.
once.
Yep. Piece of history for real.
And I love the way that the tritium has aged against the dial, and of course the red writing and the red GMT hand. It's just beautiful. The font on the steel bezel on this 5-digit reference is a little different. I find it a little better than mine, but yeah. Anyway, it's
Which one do you have?
I have the 16570. So same model, later reference that has the blacked out.
Is it tritium?
No, mine is from year 2000. So it's solid end links, Luminova, and it's my most modern Rolex watch, and probably
Okay.
forever will be my most modern Rolex.
Mm-hmm. I have the tritium dial one, and I bought it naked. It's not naked. I bought it without a bracelet even.
Right, head only.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, and I built it up. I had a bracelet for the exactly same year. I took it to the authorized dealer. He serviced it, gave it. It's recently.
That's perfect.
Give
Nice.
it, and I got the old box as well for the same year, so it's complete. I love this watches, and I have the 42 as well, the Polar dial.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, it's. I had that watch maybe 4 times or 5 times. I had
and
the white, and I had the black. I sold the white, I kept the black. I sold the black, I got the white. And the last time I went to the auction, and I know this auction's by home, and I got it back again, and it's not going anywhere anyway. So
guys, so since we have started another discussion, I don't want to steal time or audience from Marcelo time. Let's switch back to them. I will wrap up this stream. I really appreciate you guys for jumping in and contributing from the chat as well. I love talking with you guys. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you immediately in Marcelo's stream.
Yeah, that's great. And I need to say something to you once everyone is leaving. I
Yeah.
just want to talk to you.
Of course. Take
Well, I'll
care.
head up then. Thank you for hosting, Lord, and thank you for having me. And I'll see you guys
Of
later.
course.
Thanks
I
for coming
Bye to
on,
the
appreciate
guys.
chat people too. Sorry
I
I couldn't
love
see
your
stuff.
channel. Subscribe to Watch Nicholas's channel for latest updates on crime, peace, gentle scam. Cactus. All right.